If you had told me a few years ago that one of my favorite Walt Disney animated properties would be Zootopia, a story about a bunny and a fox dealing with things like prejudice, stereotypes, and discrimination, yeah, I would have called you crazy. But here we are. So with the sequel out, I decided to revisit the Zootopia series. We will begin with the massive surprise of the first film, then go into the sequels and the problems it has, how all of its themes make the series such a masterclass in storytelling, and by the end, we will see how this all adds to the legacy of Disney animation. Alright, so back in 2016 when Zootopia came out, it was actually insane. It was a perfect blend of thematic relevance, story, character, world, and entertainment. And the moment it dropped, it was a juggernaut. It went on to gross $1 billion and even win Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. It was exactly what a Walt Disney animated film should be. So let's start with the main thing, the story. The story focuses on Judy Hopps coming into the city of Zootopia. She meets a hustler fox named Nick, and the two team up with a case he has a connection to. They search for a bunch of missing predators to find out hidden corruption within the city. The story includes relatable topics, especially when it comes to the mystery, along with its thematic undertones. Now for the thematic meaning, I'm going to save that for later. All I can say is there is so much meaning even beyond the social commentary. It gives you that, but also blends together a fun buddy cop film with a lot of heart and comedy. But you can't talk about this film without talking about the world. There is such rich world building that honestly is barely explained in this film. There are many places you see throughout the journey, such as the Savannah Center, Tundra Town, Sahara Square, and the Rainforest District. Even though we don't see a lot of these, what you get is seriously good. It is very detailed and well made. Then you get the characters of this film. Judy and Nick both play very likable duo throughout the story. Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman have fantastic chemistry. You could argue it's nothing more than a funny man, straight man duo, but let's take it a bit further. Judy Hopps in particular is great but very flawed. She wants nothing more than to help the world. She is a very hopeful character, but also intelligent and resourceful. She is no perfect character, like she is oblivious to the discrimination around her. Nick, on the other hand, is the direct opposite. He is this character who is a criminal, loaded with street smarts. His childhood trauma makes him a very complex character. He is very social, but also very smart as well. He doesn't like what he does, but he will do whatever it takes to protect the people he loves. The other police officers are also very engaging. Chief Bogo feels like a real-life boss and is very intimidating, with the great Idris Elba just killing it. Officer Clawhauser is also very entertaining and a huge highlight. The rest are just there, they're just really background characters. They don't serve much of the story at hand, but the ones that do add a lot to Judy specifically. Even Shakira's character Gazelle, despite mainly being there for the iconic song. Judy Hopps will do whatever it takes to save her city, and this song plays into that perfectly. Michael Giacchino's score is also immaculate, not his best work, but it just fits the setting. It's a great theme that emulates plenty of adventure mixed with a buddy cop score. The animation is also just incredible. It looks so real and the designs are just amazing. What you see is visually stunning. Sure, it looks like most Disney films of that era, but man, it just looks so inviting even if it isn't anything new. This film didn't win Best Animated Feature for no reason. The film packs a lot of emotion while having plenty of entertainment value. It is pure escapism at its finest. The film is a hilarious watch. Nick Wilde delivers some of the funniest lines in the entire film. Now, was this movie perfect? No. Like, I get it. The story is simple at that. It's just a safe buddy cop mystery. The story isn't that complex, nor is it anything you haven't seen before. Ultimately, that is what this film is, a safe bet regardless of its execution. Then there is the logic of this film. Certain plot points at times just makes no sense. For instance, when Judy sees the dangerous flowers and didn't know what they were, like she grew up there, so wouldn't she know what they were this entire time? It's a massive plot hole that just breaks the entire film if you actually think about it. The power dynamics are also really confusing sometimes. The world has a specific structure where prey versus predators is the biggest factor. When you get into other animals in the society, it just can get really confusing. Judy in particular faces this too, and she is prey, making the power dynamics very strange to say the least. But then we got the big thing that makes most fans roll their eyes, the big plot twist. Look, I hate the idea of Disney twist villains most of the time. It's just a lazy cop-out for literally no reason other than shock value. Here, it is no different. Bellwether's twist is so lazy that it is seriously frustrating. Outside of that though, this film is pretty great. It's a grand film with plenty of fantastic characters and world building, even if its story is simple at best. It gets a whole lot more right that it just doesn't really bother me. If this was the final film, it would have been great, but there was potential for a sequel. So let's get into Zootopia 2. After a string of misses both critically and financially, it was a cry for help from the studio. Even Disney themselves were in a bad state with plenty of flops and critical misfires. You know it's bad when a Marvel movie cannot even make $700 million. So needless to say, Disney needed a win. And we knew Zootopia was probably gonna be just that, even if the film was a failed sequel. All that begs the question, one very important one. What did Disney actually do with Zootopia 2? Was it a worthy sequel or another misfire? Well, it is for sure a great film, but it's not without its flaws. We pick up just moments after the first film. Judy and Nick are partners who are struggling to figure things out. Then they find out a big mystery involving reptiles, finding out a deep mystery involving plenty of corruption and discrimination. It's a story similar to the first film. The big win is the characters themselves. Judy and Nick are in a crisis. They even get sent to therapy thinking they don't need it, when in reality it's the one thing they needed the most. The two are totally different from one another and clash a lot because of that. There is a great scene towards the end where the two basically open up about literally everything, Nick admitting all of his insecurities. Meanwhile, Judy admits all her issues and how impulsive she can be. It's a beautiful emotional scene about their chaotic yet loving friendship. In the middle of the film, we see Nick and Judy climbing a mountain, but the two start arguing about literally everything. As that happens, the pencil from the first film breaks, which is symbolic of their partnerships, and just like that, it is broken. Everyone is questioning if they should work together. This leads to an identity crisis on whether they work well at all. So when the pencil is fixed, it shows that while it still needs fixing, it is more stable than it was before. Anyway, outside of Nick and Judy, there are plenty of other new characters. The antagonist in this film, the Lingsley family, is genuinely terrifying. They add plenty of corruption to the entire film. Milton Lingsley is the one who carries this. His presence is voiced very well and executed perfectly. Then we have the beaver named Nibbles, annoying at the start but very likable by the end. Very conspiracy theorist type character, but he helps out a lot, especially when Nick gets arrested and opens up to him. Now the biggest focal points are reptiles, and that is mainly through Gary the Snake. Kihei Kwan's performance is utterly amazing. He brings this utter tragedy and shows how much bias he has put up against him. He only wants one thing, the truth about Zootopia to be let free. That of course being his great-grandmother was the founder of Zootopia, but because the Lingsley family stole the idea, she was framed. It adds both to the corruption in Zootopia and the themes around the entire story. Gary's relatives wanting nothing more but equality for Zootopia, it's the reason she designed the weather system, so that people can be equal. Gary continues to show that maybe reptiles aren't that different from the rest. Even if they look different, their mindsets are similar. We also get a new mayor voiced by Joe Swanson. Surprisingly, this is a highlight of the film. He's an actor who plays an action hero, but in reality, he is a coward. So when Nibbles is under attack, he protects her. It's a great moment that shows how far this character has come since the beginning. The rest of the character work is also pretty good. Chief Bogo is not in the film as much as he was in the first film since Gary accidentally bit him, but there is a lot of great work for both returning and new. Even as little as the officers sticking up to the Lingsley family, putting aside their differences and accepting Nick and Judy. But of course, I can't talk about this film without talking about the world. With us now seeing the reptile society, the world is even more expansive. We get a bigger look into the Tundra district, as it's very much pushed aside in the first film. The world building is just fascinating. I don't care what you think about either films, but the world you see is just incredible. And the music lands like a promise. Despite Michael's score being similar to the first film, even Shakira's song not being as strong as the original or having that much thematic undertones, both are still done really well, regardless of how much it lacks compared to the first. The film has some great setup for the future as well, and if reports are accurate, we may not have to wait that long. Disney is rumored to want to get another Zootopia out before the end of the decade. But despite what it gets right, it's not perfect by any means because it kind of has nothing new to say. It's a safe bet that is basically a repeat of the first film, but to its credit, doing it really well. It's a film that, while as emotionally effective as the first film, it's a very basic story. The script is also a dialogue mess. There is endless exposition that is just not needed. When we find out so much about the mystery around Zootopia, there is endless exposition. The film fails to understand that audiences will buy things 10 times more if you show it to us. Less is more. And this film's dialogue forgets that at times. We also get 2 zebra officers called the Zebros. They were entertaining, sure, but at times that's all they felt like instead of actual characters. When they got beat up by Gazelle, I honestly was so proud of it. But then we get into this movie's unforgivable sin, the predictable villain twist. We get a character voiced by Andy Samberg. He is from the Lingsley family and starts off as a potential love interest for Judy. He helps Gary get the Lingsley journal, only to turn on him. Now look, I already made it clear why I don't like Disney twist villains, so I won't repeat myself. All I'll say is that it was so unnecessary. Like, honestly, I was really enjoying this character and his motivations, but then he poisons Judy and it is so unearned. At the end of the day, this film is still a worthy sequel. It's just a safe one that does it pretty well overall. The emotion is there along with the great character work, one that gives us a rare Disney animated film that actually sticks the landing, which in today's era is very rare. Now, it may be easy to just show Zootopia 2 as this simple, fun buddy cop comedy, but if you look deeper into the meaning of both films, it is much more profound than that. Nick has this the most out of anyone. From a young age, he has been treated differently because he is a fox. All of his jokes and actions are a result of his traumatic past. Nick Wilde is even the first ever fox to become a cop. His result of bias of Zootopia is front and center. The film shows us how biased society is as a whole, but the film makes it its greatest choice in its lesson. In this aspect, it's not good to run from these biases. When you confront your own biases, you can truly make a difference. Judy realizes this through Nick. That bridge scene is not only a great character moment, it's the moment. Her admitting that the biases around people is wrong and that she and everyone else should change for the better. But let's talk about the prejudice, which if there is one thing Zootopia is, it's that. It's something that is key to from the bias in this film. Both stories are unapologetically this. It shows us how Judy, a prey, makes assumptions based on her childhood. Like when she's being bullied by Gideon Grey, she's meant to believe that foxes are evil. Then when she meets Nick, she realizes how wrong she was. The first film is without exaggeration an allegory for predator versus prey. It is used to show us how being different is feared, and given the world we live in, we understand this. It's a story that challenges that very topic, how social groups can have nature that just never changes, but more importantly, how past actions can bring in unjust forms of discrimination. When the film goes full into those things, like how fear and manipulation goes into all of it, the narrative just gets even stronger. In the second film, when you see the villains going after Judy and Nick, it is seriously terrifying. It shows us real fear from unjust prejudice. Now, another key theme in this entire film is, of course, stereotypes, which, just like the 2 we mentioned earlier, are in tandem with each other. To understand this even better, let's take a look into one scene, that being Nick Wilde's introduction scene. When he's introduced, he gets honked at for being a fox. So Judy, being incredibly biased to her past investigations, only to assume that he is a good father. And when the mystery gets further in, you just feel so much more of this stereotypical species in there. With all of this, the film's central theme is discrimination. It mainly goes around speciesism, I probably butchered that, I'm sorry, which is the discrimination based on species. The thing is though, this is a metaphor for racism, obviously in things like predators or reptiles being deemed dangerous just for being different. Just like how today with things that happen. It's a clear allegory. That honestly makes it work even better than it should. No matter how hard you work, you will get discriminated against. Judy trained harder than anyone and look what happened. No one at the academy believed in her. She got put on as a meter maid. The film does not hold back with its themes and social expectations, but how discrimination just makes everything even worse. The thing about the themes is each is pulled into one narrative. The themes around Zootopia aren't important because of what it means for our society, it's important because of what it tells about this world. How bias, prejudice, stereotypes, and discrimination tell one story. Around how 2 animals can work together and make a difference and make the world a better place. This is why the themes are so important. They add to everything at this world at large. Only a fool would deny the legacy of Walt Disney Animation. When you think of something that has changed the course of film for good, this will always be there. All from the early works such as Snow White or Pinocchio, to their golden age stuff like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and of course The Lion King. All from what has come today with Frozen, Moana, and Zootopia. Regardless of the era, it's a timeless legacy. However, when you look at what they've done today, their track record is pretty questionable to say the least. I mean, do we not watch Wish? I'm not saying everything they do is bad, not true. But after Moana 2 and especially Wish, it's clear that there have been a lot of red flags that led to what we got in Zootopia 2 for better or worse. Thankfully, this film is not that slop. It is in that rare category that actually sticks the landing. I know I just made a whole paragraph on their decline, but credit where it's due, Zootopia actually sticks the landing. But why does Zootopia work so well? Is it its themes, its characters, its world? Well, the answer to that is all of the above. The film is without exaggeration the best of modern Disney animation. Yes, better than Frozen and the Moana films. This is more consistent than whatever we got with their sequels. The first film was a perfect start to the world we got. It gave us a great story that was simple, had such fantastic character work, and made it worthwhile. Nick and Judy were fantastic through and through, with a mystery that was genuinely compelling. Zootopia 2 came on and expanded upon those. The mystery on the reptiles was genuinely great, and the mystery around them was just the cherry on top. The themes were at times stronger than the first. The character work had improved, even if at worst it's a safe sequel, but it hits more often than it misses. But of course, the themes just carry it home. It plays on real themes that are so relatable, because with the world we live in today, it not only makes it relevant, but have a real reason to exist. They don't shove it down your throat to preach a message, it is used to tell a compelling story with depth. What comes next is unknown, but whatever Disney wants to create with this world, I am down for. As I said, I'll take 20 of these films, and that is a testament to the writing on display. It's not overly complex, but it has so much meaning behind it. So, those are my thoughts on Zootopia as a franchise thus far. Thank you so much for watching, and whatever your thoughts are on Zootopia, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. But until next time, take care.